Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, get flights off the ground. Nothing will stand in our way. The UK's Prime Minister's full steam ahead with plans to deport migrants to Rwanda. Kigali says it's pleased that Britain's finally sorted out the legal obstacles to the controversial and costly plan. Also, a little over a month since Nigeria reopened its borders with Niger after sanctions were rolled back and trade is picking up. But businesses who lost untold amounts during the shutdown last year are still counting the cost. And Kenyan Eliud Kipchoge says that despite swirling speculation that the upcoming Paris Olympics might be his last time at the Games, he is very much focused on winning a third consecutive marathon title come the summer. But first, Rwanda may be just a few months away from taking in migrants shipped over from the UK under a controversial deal. The policy has sparked outrage from rights campaigners ever since Britain's Conservative government first touted it in 2022 as a solution to irregular cross-channel migration. Since then, it's faced several legislative and legal setbacks, but on Monday night, UK Parliament approved legislation compelling judges to regard Rwanda as a safe third country and permitting asylum application decision makers to disregard certain international and domestic human rights laws. Clement Diroma tells us more.
After more than 2 years of waiting since the signing of the first migrant deal between London and Kigali, which plans for the removal of thousands of migrants to the country over 1,000 hills, the Rwandan government is pleased with the passage of a new law in the British Parliament and asserts its readiness to welcome asylum seekers. The text defines Rwanda as a third country whose safety cannot be questioned by the courts. At the end of 2023, UK judges had declared the agreement illegal as they deemed the country not safe enough. A way to bypass the judiciary has thus been voted on despite the concerns of human rights defenders who point out that Rwanda does not offer the necessary individual freedoms to refugees.
The Rwanda legislation is not just wrong because of the way in which it flagrantly ignores the rights as set out in international law of refugee and asylum seekers, but there's a second reason it's wrong. It sets an extremely alarming precedent where the UK government is saying it can legislate to force courts not to properly assess evidence in making their judgments. That's something that has implications far wider even than just asylum and refugee policy.
Kigali, however, claims to be working hard to secure the country. The government asserts that it has welcomed over 130,000 refugees in recent decades fleeing the conflicts in the region. Opponents in Rwanda, including the Green Party, said a few weeks ago that this law was unsuitable for Rwanda, a poor country with an unemployment rate of around 40% among the youth.
Well, the UK is currently set to pay Rwanda about €430 million over 5 years for the scheme, with further payments if more than 300 people are sent over. While in Kigali, preparations to host deported refugees were begun even as the moral and logistical wrangling over the policy dragged on over the years in the UK.
A hostel in Kigali, ready to greet its visitors. Everything is laid out with care. A cleaner making sure the place is spotless. No guests have arrived yet. In fact, Hope Hostel has been waiting for them for nearly 2 years. After the UK Parliament approved the migrant deal legislation, the Rwandan government wants to fill these rooms with unwanted migrants within a matter of weeks. Rwandans in the nation's capital got mixed reactions to the British plan to send asylum seekers to their country.
I think it will be good economically for the nation, considering that there is nothing that is better than human capital.
Rwanda has been welcoming refugees for many years, but also many Rwandans, including myself, were once refugees. We lived in foreign countries. So there is that willingness to accommodate other people who are in danger. But of course, it is also strange because somebody who is in the UK should not be coming to a country like Rwanda, which is poorer. So we would expect that the UK would have more resources to accommodate more refugees. We understand, of course, it is a political issue in the UK. They are doing it for their own political benefits, but Rwanda also has its benefits in being involved in this deal.
For the migrants at this transit center, And for those still to come, this is all about seeking a better future. For some of them, Rwanda will only be a detour. For others, a dead end or a new home.
A two-day African counter-terrorism summit wrapped up in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Tuesday, as well as calls from the African Union and the chair of the ECOWAS West African Regional Bloc for more international support for the continent's fight against escalating extremist attacks. There was also an emphasis on the importance of regional coherence and cooperation over security strategies. Terror groups have switched up their approaches as they become increasingly entrenched across the Sahel, operating with little regard to borders and exacerbating local and regional instability in all manner of ways.
The challenge of confronting terrorism is different in scale and design. We're fighting networks that know no boundaries or borders. For many years, we have pushed for greater cooperation to counter terrorism and tackle the proliferation of unregistered and untraceable small arms. There are 40 million small arms and light weapons under the control of non-state actors in Africa.
The reopening of the border between Nigeria and Niger has come as a welcome relief to traders on both sides of the frontier and has seen an uptick in trade. The shutdown was originally imposed by ECOWAS after the coup in Niger last July. The borders reopened about a month ago, but some of the traders are still counting the cost from the original freeze.
In Niger, traders who rely on imports from Nigeria can breathe a sigh of relief. On March the 14th, Nigerian authorities reopened the border between the two countries, which had been closed for months. Just 3 weeks earlier, ECOWAS had decided to lift the sanctions imposed on Niger after the July 2023 coup. Since then, business is slowly getting back on track in capital city Niamey.
I don't know exactly how much money we lost during this crisis, but it's significant. But things are getting better now that the border is open again. When the border was closed, sometimes the goods we bought in Nigeria got stuck. We had to put them on smugglers' trucks, even though it was risky and dangerous, particularly because of the insecurity.
Nigeria, which is the economic powerhouse of the region, is once again selling electricity to Niger, which depends on it for 70% of its needs.
For the past few months, the power was always going out, but now it's better. We have electricity all the time.
Today, many traders want financial compensation from Nigeria and Benin's governments. They believe the two countries violated regional rules by closing their borders with Niger at the request of ECOWAS leaders.
We're considering legal action in the countries that closed their borders and caused us losses. We want help and support from the military authorities so that Nigerian traders can be rightfully compensated.
It's been nearly 2 months since ECOWAS lifted sanctions, yet the border with Benin, which is Niger's main trade route, remains closed under the directive of Nigerian authorities.
Well, as the excitement ramps up towards the Paris Olympics, athletes around the world are limbering up to deliver their best at the landmark tournament. Kenya's double gold marathon Olympian Eliud Kipchoge says that despite swirling speculation about his imminent retirement this year, he's still laser focused on three-peating his success come the summer. Take a look.
He is an icon of the marathon world. Eliud Kipchoge from Kenya is the two-time defending Olympic champion. This summer, during the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, he has one goal: go down in history as the first person to win a third Olympic title.
In Kenya or in Africa, we say we don't chase 2 rabbits at a time. You will miss all of them. You chase one. So the rabbit of Olympic Games is what I'm chasing now.
Challenging himself is the motto of the great runner. In 2018, he became the first athlete to complete a marathon in under 2 hours and 2 minutes. 4 years later, he broke his own record with a time of 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds. Despite approaching 40, the marathon legend's competitive spirit remains ironclad. There's no question of hanging up his bib.
If you can convince me that the moment I'll be crossing the finishing line, then the whole world has become a running wall, then I will retire.
Kipchoge is part of a very select club of champions. Along with Abebe Bikila of Ethiopia and Waldemar Czerpinski of East Germany, they are the only 3 people in history to have secured 2 back-to-back Olympic golds in the marathon.
And that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us, though, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.